Damen and Herren, Madame and Monsieur, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, I proudly welcome you to the new Chronic Briefs. Yes, we decided to put a new-ish, recognizable name on this thing we're doing, and since Chronic Briefs was sitting tragically going unused, we decided why not pick it up out of its squalor and give it a second life. Now, for those of you who have no earthly idea what I'm talking about, Chronic Briefs was the name of my 10-episode podcast, available on iTunes or wherever quality podcasts are sold, but it's free. Whatever. Anywho, the podcast was one where I shared some of the crazy, absurd stuff that happens when you go out into this world with a chronic illness or disability. Now, if you're in the mood for some crazy stories about living with RA and more, check it out. Either way, it was such a good name, we just had to use it. I mean, chronic? Chronic as in chronic illness? Chronic as in the videos are constantly coming out. Chronic as in chronic? Not that. But briefs. Briefs as in short. Briefs as in I'm giving out information. Briefs as in tidy whities. You know, sometimes you just need that snug support, right? Or maybe that's just me. Still, the name is pretty much perfect, so we're using it. And yay for us. Okay? So, for our first official episode of CBs, that's the super cool way to say Chronic Briefs, I figured it would only be appropriate to talk about living with chronic illness. Just, what it's like to be hanging out with disability, from diagnosis to, well, nothing. That's kind of the whole point of having a chronic illness. It doesn't end, ever, and ever. But way back, many joint replacements ago, when I was first diagnosed at age 11 or so, things didn't seem to make sense. Now that I'm 25... and I've seen the world, I realized exactly how that conversation went wrong when the doc told us what I had, rheumatoid arthritis. And it's that way, it's that conversation that goes for most people who get diagnosed with chronic illness. You take your test, you get examined, and the doc comes in and the fun begins. Kind of goes like this. So doc, what's wrong with me? Why are these germs attacking my body? So, not germs? Not germs? Oh, the virus. I got the virus. What virus again? Not a virus. Oh, so then my body is being attacked by the Russians? What are we talking about here, doc? What's attacking my body? Yes, my body. Yes, my body. My body. Oh, my body is attacking my body. My body? That doesn't sound right. You sure it's not the Russians? Those Ruskies are pretty crafty. No, it's my own. It's my body. So why is that happening? You don't know. Nobody knows. Oh, that doesn't sound right again, but whatever. So, what's going to happen to me, doc? What am I looking at here in terms of seriousness? Light annoyance, very serious, death. What's it going to be, doc? Okay, minor annoyance, or very serious. So it goes from nothing much at all to super death. That seems like a wide margin. So, whatever. Okay, how do we get rid of it? How do we fix it? Take medication. Okay, great, take medication. Which medication? You don't know. Again, you don't know. I feel like I'm being punked, right? Ashton's in the back. He's going to jump out and be like, it's actually cancer. We got you. No, not punked. No. So you don't know what caused it. You don't know exactly what's going to happen to me. And you don't know how to fix it. So what do you know? My billing info. Yeah, I'll bet you do. I got to be honest with you, doc. I feel like I know less now than when I came in here. And unfortunately, that's going to affect your Yelp review, just on principle. So, to sum up, you don't know why this happened, you don't know how to fix it, you don't know what's going to happen to me. Now, there's a test that can determine if I have certain factors in the blood that may or may not mean I have a certain type of illness. But those tests that may or may not be accurate can be used to determine which medication may or may not be useful in treating whatever illness I may or may not have. But I can only try the medications that my insurance company will let me try in the order that they will let me try them. And I have to stay on them a certain amount of time, even if they aren't working, in order to make it to the next blood test that may or may not show that I have the next illness that I may or may not have, so that I can try the next medication on the list that may or may not work in order to treat the symptoms that I may get, which range from apparently slight ache to instant death. And just for fun, If we do find a medication that somehow through all of this insanity actually works, there's a slim chance or a great chance that the medication will stop working after a year or 10 years. Do I have it right? Is that about it? Did I sum up the whole picture correctly? Yeah. You know what, Doc? In retrospect, I feel like now we're going to just go with leeches.
Ew.
Yeah. When you hear it out loud all at once, it really hits you how much doctors don't know about chronic illness, right? Right? Regular illnesses, you go to the doctor, you pay him some money, right? And they tell you what you don't know. But chronic illnesses, you pay the doctor to tell you what they don't know, which, as you can see, is mainly everything. So what ends up happening? The doctors try to mitigate your symptoms as best they can. And in the meantime, if they happen to stumble across a medication that works to help the actual cause, well then, yay for everyone. Yeah. It's like not that much of a step of just throwing darts at the wall and taking whatever medication it lands on. And that's a big part of what living with chronic illness is. That unknown. Yeah, the unknown. It's like a stranger looming in the background always, or an angry raccoon ready to pounce. You know, making that date you've been looking forward to a misery. And it's stressful. It's stressful. Imagine if you went to bed every night not knowing what your body had in store for you the next day. Maybe you'll have a killer headache. Maybe you'll be fine. Or maybe, just maybe, you'll wake up with a big purple hand growing out of your forehead giving you the finger in the mirror when you get up to go to the bathroom. Could happen. You never know what chronic illness is going to throw at you. You just don't. And that's what makes it so that you are unable to get into any kind of routine. You know, they've done studies where mice have had to endure discomfort, but it came at the same time every day. And lo and behold, the mice got used to it. They got used to it. But when they did the same experiment and they did it at random times during the day instead, the mice never got used to it. And they were stressed out and in bad health always. Yeah, well, we're the mice in that example. We're the mice. Finally, one more thing I want to talk about that comes with living with chronic illness, and that's the isolation. The loneliness, the feeling that no one would ever understand what you're going through, so you're not even going to talk about it. And it's true. A lot of people don't understand, or can't, or won't, or another word that ends with "nt." The point is, they don't call chronic conditions invisible illnesses for no reason. And there is no greater evidence of this than that vaunted blue rectangle that consistently drives so-called normal people insane. Of course, I'm talking about the handicapped parking spot. No, and I mean no discussion of disability and chronic illness being invisible can be completed without talking about that most contentious quadrilateral that seems to put the exclamation point on invisible illness. For some reason, healthy people doth feel it is their sacred duty to defend thy honor of the blue square of disability. And they do it with the clever use of, that's right, shaking their heads. Yes, if I do not look sufficiently disabled, whatever that means, you will for sure get an angry stare and a headshake if you dare to step out of your vehicle whilst in the blue square without a limp or a wheelchair. If you're really lucky, you might get a finger waggle or even, dare I say it, a hastily written note on a scrap of paper on the back of a piece of garbage. These notes say eloquent things like, "Handicap parking is for the disabled, you jerk," and "You don't look disabled, I'm calling the authorities." And my personal favorite, "The blue spot is for people who are really handicapped." Now for that one, I can't decide if he or she meant really as in actually handicapped, or really as in super disabled. I mean missing all my limbs, head in a jar on top of a robot body, the whole nine. It's absurd, isn't it? And sometimes I'll get out and just skip my way to the store entrance, la-di-da, la-di-da. Actually, no, I'm not going to skip. Last time I skipped was in college, and that didn't go well either. Anyway, I'm using this clever comedic example to show you what people with chronic illness deal with and why they feel isolation. Most people think we're whiners, or we need to suck it up, or we need to be less handsome, because they don't see the truth. Yes, we are good at hiding it, but they also don't see us at 2 a.m. on the toilet crying because it hurts so bad you're not sure if you can get up. That's the real chronic illness, and it's serious and it's real. So, we hope you liked the first official episode of Chronic Briefs, and as always, there's more to come. More laughs, more learning, and of course, more me. Which, you gotta give the people what they want. So, until next time, be kind, rewind, and keep on keeping on. We'll talk soon. Melito out!